Hey everybody, Chris Beytes here from Growertalks magazine, welcoming you to another episode of The Goods, hot products from the trade shows that you would have attended had there been any trade shows, and there haven't been any trade shows, but we're hoping there's going to be trade shows, right, Jim? Maybe
That's
this summer,
correct,
maybe
Chris.
soon. They're coming. I guarantee they're coming back. But until then, hey, this is the next best thing where we can talk to different companies about the cool products, hot products that they're introducing. And today I've got Jim Kroger from Fine Americas as my guest, and he's going to be talking about a new plant growth regulator. Welcome, Jim.
Good morning, Chris. How are you doing today?
Superb. You are a territory manager and technical sales dude for Fine. Where do you ply your trade around the country?
Starting around the Dakotas and moving east across the upper Midwest into the Northeast, and then pursuing a little larger territory into Canada. I cover Ontario, Quebec, and the Maritime provinces.
Oh, no growers in Ontario.
Not at all.
And where are you broadcasting from today?
Today I'm in Holt, Michigan, just south of the lovely campus MSU.
Speaking of MSU,
State University.
I didn't realize this. You're married to a professor that some of my viewers probably know. Is that a secret? You want to talk about that?
It's not a secret, but it is. Well, actually, it is somewhat of a secret because we both decided to keep our maiden names when we got married back in 1991. I'm married to Dr. Bridget Behe.
How do you like that? So we could talk horticultural data, statistics, research, and marketing.
Exactly. I just need to go across to the other room and bring her in here.
Well, let's dive right into it. I'm going to call up a nice PowerPoint that you guys have put together for us so we can see a few things about the product. The PGR is, get back to the beginning of it there. It's called Advocate.
That's
so
correct.
Tell me about this.
Advocate is a 20% IBA. It's not a new product, but it's very much a new formulation. It's a liquid formulation of endobutyric acid, which has been used in the industry for years and years to help stimulate calluses on woody cuttings so that you can enhance plant growth, or excuse me, root growth and plant growth. But what you got to get started with the roots. It's a very easy to mix formulation, and unlike its counterparts, which are usually water soluble powders, this is much easier to deal with and measure out. And we're going to expand on some research work in the future, combining Advocate with one of our other new products that's coming out.
So it's not a plant growth regulator. It's a plant growth stimulator.
It is a regulator, but to understand plant growth regulators, there are growth regulators and growth stimulators. So some stop growth or slow down growth, and some enhance growth. This is a plant growth regulator that stimulates root growth.
Okay, good. Because I was going to say it's showing what you can tank mix it with here, and normally you don't think about tank mixing a plant growth reducer, what we think of as a PGR with fertilizers, fungicides.
Well, and that's one thing that growers sometimes get a misunderstanding, because even the things that stimulate growth can actually keep vertical growth down so that the plant is still not reaching and stretching as much. There are other products that stimulate lateral growth down below the tips of the plant, and so you get a shorter compact plant actually by stimulating growth as well as by stopping growth or reducing growth.
All right, so tell me how growers are going to use this new liquid formulation of Advocate.
They can use this formulation just like they've used any other IBA formulation in the past. They can do this as a foliar spray, as a basal dip, as a basal soak, and a basal long soak or total immersion in the finished solution.
Would you use that for rooted or unrooted cuttings, either one?
Yes, unrooted cuttings, or it can be sprayed on plugs or small seedlings that still don't need to develop their root growth before you transplant them. You got to have that root system in place, and then you can shift your focus onto the top growth.
All right, but the idea is stimulating the root system of the plant.
Exactly.
And there's a long list of plants you can use it on. I should probably ask, what can't you use it on? Is there anything that's...
We honestly have not found anything that you can't use it on, but there are some stubborn, especially, hardwood cuttings that it either takes a little extra effort, or just that you may have to do some other things like scarification or something to stimulate the root growth also. But we've not found anything that you can at least try it on. Some things that it works better, or some things you just have to kind of adjust either the parts per million that you're applying, or the rate, or the manner in which you're applying it. Use a higher spray volume, for instance, on certain things, but nothing that I would say that you can't just not try, because it generally does produce some sort of results.
All right, let's talk about that. Why is a grower going to use this, and what can they expect to see?
Well, the grower is going to use this mainly to get a good, solid root system early. The earlier they can get that with their plants, either whether it be cuttings or enhancing seedlings, the faster they can get it to the bench, and the faster they can grow it out so that it's ready for sale. Again, since this is a liquid and you're putting it or mixing it with water, there's very little issue with mixing or staying in solution or that kind of thing. So it's just a faster, easier way to get those plants started and get them out the door.
Okay, so is it one of those kind of things? Is it cost effective enough to where you could use it across, say, your entire crop at planting, or transplanting, or a few weeks after, just basically as an additive, like a fertilizer on everything?
Yes, you're just going to get it early in the game, because once the roots get fairly well established, then the grower shifts to working on the top growth and what it's going to look like, and starting to do the process of whether it's foliage or whether it's flowering. You're going to shift that energy. Basically, when you apply IBA like this and advocate, you're basically just trying to get those get those cuttings to root and give them a jump start.
Okay, but there has to be a root zone present, so you wouldn't apply it to unrooted necessarily, would you?
Oh yes, yeah. In fact, okay. if you can stick cuttings and within 48 hours spray over the top, and it will help start to form that callus layer on the basal end of that cutting, so that those start to differentiate into a root system. All so right. What it's basically doing is focusing the plant. The plant basically puts a lot of energy into developing root systems. Then you start to shift your nutritional program to get the top growth to match the root growth.
All right. So best to apply in the propagation stage.
Yes, right. And then, of course, if you wanted to not do the spray, then that's when you start to look at the basal dips or the total immersion.
All right.
There's more than one way to get it onto that cutting before you stick it, but a lot of operations prefer to do the sticking first and then just spray over the top.
All right. Any phytotoxicity issues or precautions growers should take when using?
We haven't seen any phyto issues, especially usually a liquid formulation like this, because it does go into solution so well. You always want to test, and particularly if you're doing tank mixes, you want to make sure that you do a jar compatibility test, what any pesticide or PGR is going to tell you on the label, because we can't test everything all the time. And if you have good water quality, if you start with good water quality in your spray, then your chances of you having any issues are very slim.
All right, good. Labeled for all 50 states by any chance?
That's a good question, because I haven't
Canada?
Looked at the update. Not in Canada yet.
You can't talk about it when you go up north of the border, those customers.
Exactly. And I have a Zoom meeting with my Canadian guys on Friday, and we have to tease them with it, but we can't share it with them yet. But believe me, I've already gotten a couple of calls from Canada, the growers do pay attention to what you guys are doing out there in the publishing world.
All right. Well, that's Advocate from Fine Americas, a new plant growth stimulator for your root system. Look for it at your favorite distributor, I imagine. Jim, thanks so much for sharing the news about this new product. Good luck with it. And for Jim and everybody at Fine Americas, I'm Chris Beytes, saying thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of The Goods. See you next time.
Thank you, Chris.